24 murders in the past 7 years in the SLV, 24 homicides. A couple of them are justified. You had Jennifer Sharp and Nelson Billings. They said he had killed himself, but Jennifer Sharp got shot and murdered. And when Jennifer Sharp got shot and murdered, you had a decision letter by DA Krista Newmeyer Olson that said that the trooper was justified in murdering Jennifer Sharp because she was directly endangering other members of the public. It seemed justified, but what's weird is we didn't get the name of the officer that shot the person, and we didn't get a jury trial. That's one of the main. James H. Sprouse is going to get killed by Mike Robinson and Romeo. You had 3 people that was killed in Conejos County. You had Santos Novares Ramirez, who had killed Lupe, Joey, and Marissa Herrero at Lupe's birthday. Donnell Martinez was shot and injured, but he had survived. Santos is going to plead guilty, and he got life in prison. In 2018, you had an unnamed 12-year-old kill an unnamed 14-year-old. Now, I can understand, when it comes to anybody that's under 18, you got to proceed carefully. You have to proceed carefully. Why? Because if it's just some, sort of dumb, youth thing, dumb accident, youth thing, well, that's one thing. But if this is organized crime, what is this, the Three Kings of Cineola? The Three Kings of Cineola and, what is it, Hell's Angels? Aren't a lot of these gangs blood in, blood out, blood in, blood out? So that was 2018, 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't mean to pick on the DeLottas. The only reason I was comparing my case with David DeLotta case is because we were in the same court. I would see him in the same court. The same time I would. One other thing, the DeLottas at, September 17th, so it's been over a year, right? It's what, a year and a half? It's been a year and a half, and we still haven't figured this thing out. Meanwhile, it only took them 8 months. So let's make that correction off the top. David DeLotta served 8 months. And I think the reason why people are saying that was because I was saying, I was shocked. And the only reason I'm mentioning that I'm shocked is just to say that they had won. The DeLottas have been exonerated by a court of record. And that's pretty much good enough for me. The only thing that I would like out of David is maybe just write up a paragraph or just, put a letter or something out there just saying what had happened. He don't have to. But that's the thing with us in the public, right? I guess he convinced the right authorities but he's going to have to live his life. And we're going to need to know that he defended himself, which that has to be the defense, right? Wasn't really a police action. It had to be self-defense. Was that affirmative action? Was that affirmative defense? So I think they won. They were happy. The mother of David DeLotta was happy. The alleged victim's wife was crying. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman, too. So seems, I don't know how I feel about that. You need to listen to the alleged victim, but also David DeLotta did pay 8 months of jail time. So I'm basically the court of record. It seemed like he was, everything was on the up and up, and the court went ahead and exonerated him and let him walk away. So clearly the DA and the judge thought that it seemed like it was self-defense, right? The only thing I want is just that little paragraph. Hell, I would even read it. If they wrote it, posted on YouTube, Jonathan Masters. On Facebook, I would read it. Because I have no idea. There was some Dan Bustamante that had some sort of narrative, and then there was somebody else that had a narrative. I don't know. Why would I cover this? Because on YouTube, you got to get attention. And unfortunately, on YouTube, you have to deliver. So you have to be funny. You have to be interesting. You got to get those eyeballs. And to cover a local homicide, that's the way to get the eyeballs. In general, my point was to not murder, and so it was a murder case. And that is the rule, right? That's the eternal rule. It comes from the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not murder. It's a good rule. That's a good rule. Meaning you can't go around killing innocent people. You can't just, in cold blood, murder a person. And it's taken me 41 years, but I asked a lot of people that question, and a lot of people couldn't even say that murder is wrong. But murder, that's the rule. Murder is wrong, but there's always exceptions to the rule, right? And when I think about murder, there's two. When I think about justifiable murder, there's two exceptions, namely self-defense and legitimate police action. But if you're not defending yourself and you're not doing a legitimate police action, then you're just shooting people to rob them and rape them, and just because you're a criminal, just because you're a piece of shit. So, did we get a jury trial? Did James H. Sprouse get a jury trial? Did Lupe and Joe? I guess he said he pled guilty. So that's the only way that it seems, if they plead guilty to the top charge. That's the only way I'm okay with not getting a jury trial. The way I understand America is that, there's laws. You can't do this, you can't do that, but sometimes there's gray area. And when it comes to the gray area, you're going to need the jury to figure it out. I'd rather have 12 of my peers staring at the case, studying the case, looking at it, going through the details. Have nice composition notebooks with gel ink, because you want the jurors to take as many notes, to pay attention closely to what's going on. And you probably should go ahead and print up all the transcripts for the jury. Felix Gallegos had shot and killed Byron Garcia. This is also going to be ruled justified by DA Krista Newmeyer Olson. She said Felix Gallegos' actions met all the requirements of an affirmative defense. Under Colorado law, there is simply no duty to retreat when one is not the initial aggressor. Article 2, Section 13 says you have a right to bear arms in defense of home, person, and property. So you have a right to defend your home. That's castle law. You have a right to defend your person. And that's essentially stand your ground, because the defending person is your person and other person. So if somebody else, and then defending property, you have a right to bear arms in defense of home, person, and property. So if someone steals your property, you have a right to bear arms. That's Colorado. There's also a bunch of affirmative defenses. So I think she's talking about not the Article 2, Section 13. She's talking about the statutes. And then there's like 5 or 6 affirmative defenses. Which affirmative defense was she talking about? Seems like it's pretty lazy just to say, I know the guy and he seems okay, and I don't want to inconvenience him with a trial. Why not? I want a trial for this person, even if he is just to exonerate. Get a jury of his peers to exonerate him. You all looked at the matter and then behind closed doors said your buddy is okay. That's our buddy. It's cool. Because I totally want to believe I'm pretty much on the side of Felix Gallegos. But we didn't get a jury trial with that case. That was buried behind closed doors. You also had William Trujillo and Ryan Lopez are going to get charged with murdering Roy Cisneros and Virginia Archuleta. What is this? Is this, again, is this gangsta land? Is this Hell's Angels? Is this Three Kings, Cineola? I heard about the Cineola. They just did drugs. They just went ahead and, got into the illegal drug market. That's El Chapo. El Chapo and Cineola were just doing drugs, but now you got these cartels. And what's good about just doing drugs is that they're not knocking over the old lady. They're not knocking over the old lady. They're not terrorizing the neighborhood. They're not terrorizing the police. They're not felony menace in the neighborhood. So the other Cineola is just drug dealers, but the Three Kings, I'm not sure. There's other gangs that are not just doing drugs. Drugs for the Cineola was the main thing. For these other gangsters, other cartels, it's the only thing. It's the side gig. The drugs is a side gig. It's a protection racket. They'll say they'll protect you, but then come by and break your knees. So it's a protection racket. It's bull. It's not real. So what happened with that? William Trujillo and Ryan Lopez were charged with murdering Roy Cisneros and Virginia Archuleta. That's all I know. Somebody got accused of it. That doesn't say anything. Who the hell is Roy? Who is Virginia? R.I.P. to Virginia Archuleta. R.I.P. to Roy Cisneros. R.I.P. to even Byron Garcia Duran. It looked to me like it was justified. I would say it seems that the killing of Jennifer Sharp was justified. It seems that the killing of killing of Byron Garcia, Felix Gallegos' shooting and killing of Byron Garcia Duran seemed justified. So why not get a jury of our peers to say that it was justified? Put a stamp of approval from the public. Andre Barrows, he killed Karina Arroyo. R.I.P. to Karina. R.I.P. to Myron Martinez. Shayla Hamill. R.I.P. Selena Escobel. R.I.P. Xavier Zevin Garcia. R.I.P. Are we going to get a jury trial with that? We should. Robert Turner Jr. was killed in Moffett. This is December 2020. Who? Robert Turner Jr.? And then apparently Donald Garcia, they found him, the suspect, located in a camper. You know, there was a guy that he ran away. He ran away out there and ran into a camper, into somebody else's camper, ran away from his abusive parents and lived in a camper in Costilla County. So Donald Garcia, he's the murder suspect. Or was he just a poor guy living in a camper and then you just, stuck him with this? And then that's another thing. When they sit there and point at a person and say, well, that's the person who did it, then we're all supposed to just shut up and just say, okay. I mean, what if it looks like it could have been that Kohberger, that damn Kohberger that stabbed those people in Idaho? But what if it wasn't? Now that you've made the arrest and all the attention is on this guy in the trial, the actual person who did the stabbing could be just running around rampant. Christopher Lopez is shot and killed, and they're going to arrest Josiah Medina, Thomas Espinoza, and Marcelo Gamboa. Is this Three Kings? Is this the Cineola? When I told them, when I told the court, when I told the bailiff, when I told several of the members of the Leviathan about a lot of these crimes, they've been... Then they were held on a $100,000 bond. So where's our jury trial? Over and over again, we're not getting a jury trial. We're not getting all the information. Who is Robert Turner? Did he, he got killed. But by who? Was it Donald Garcia or was that just a patsy? You just found somebody and said, okay, it's probably this person because he's poor and living in a camper? Or maybe he did it. Who knows? We, the public, aren't being told. Brian Taylor's going to get stabbed to death. Brian Taylor got stabbed to death. 41-year-old Brian Taylor. This is last year. Exactly almost February 23rd, 2022. So I had fired 3 warning shots. Meanwhile, I'd fired 3 warning shots September 17th, 2021. Since that happened, you've had Brian Taylor get stabbed to death. Then David DeLotta shot and killed Omega McCullagh in seemingly self-defense. They got a court of record. He called 911. He called a court of record. He called 911 and a court of records and seemingly exonerated them for letting him walk away with a misdemeanor. He had pled down to a misdemeanor to a reckless endangerment charge. And then walked out, time served. He was there for 8 months. So this is a correction video. David DeLotta did his 8 months because I was like, didn't you want to give him a week or two? And I guess he did have a week or two. He did have 8 months, and that is if it was justifiable, homicide, justifiable self-defense. If it's justifiable, self-defense, then every second that he was locked up was a second of. So that paragraph, it just kind of, for me and the community, just to say, oh, okay, that's what happened. I'll probably believe, essentially what you offer, because I'm not in a position to really go around shaking people down. And that's why I want my authorities to figure the thing out, but release to us what you got. Tell us what you got. Oh, you looked at all the information behind closed doors and you're convinced of the thing? Maybe you're corrupt. Maybe you're just covering up for Tracy Friel. So you had Brian Taylor who got stabbed to death. You had Omega McCullagh that got killed. This is all that's happened since I got arrested for just firing 3 warning shots. June 23rd, 2022, you had Kenneth Mendenhall Jr., 31, was arrested for the alleged murder of Tracy Friel, 57, the alleged murder. She was definitely murdered, but it's alleged that Kenneth Mendenhall Jr., what the fuck? What happened to that case? I haven't heard anything about this Brian Taylor case. He was stabbed to death in Willow Grove in Saguache. And then who is this Kenneth Mendenhall Jr., 31? Been arrested for the alleged murder of Tracy Friel. And then you had Elia Salazar is going to get killed. And this is just like in 2018 with the 12-year-old shooting the 14-year-old or vice versa. Here you have 2 teenage girls are going to kill Elia Salazar while making a TikTok video. Emiliano Vargas was arrested since it was his gun that was used. That doesn't make any sense. And then Jesus Lozano, August 13th, 2022, is going to get shot and killed near Fort Garland in his own home. This is since the warning shots. Since I fired warning shots, Brian Taylor and got arrested. Brian Taylor got stabbed to death. Omega McCullagh got shot to death. Tracy Friel had a life-threatening gunshot wound to the upper right thigh. Got shot to death. Elia Salazar shot to death. Jesus Lozano shot and killed. And out of all those, it's only DeLotta that looks like it's in self-defense. The rest of them, Brian Taylor, we don't even know. I don't even know who. That we haven't even arrested a person in the Brian Taylor thing. That's over a year ago. Is this Kenneth Mendenhall? Is he Tracy Friel? Does he have something to do with Tracy Friel? And then you're going to arrest Emiliano Vargas. He was like just around. They used his gun when he wasn't at the house. So, again, it seems like, is this gang related? Are we getting enough information? And then that's not it. Phil Lucero is going to get killed by Robert Thrash. And then Aaron Delgado. Aaron Delgado is going to get killed. Guess by who? 3 17-year-olds and 2 18-year-olds. We need to get to the bottom of things. We need to know who these people are, what the hell is going on. The authorities have all the power, but they seem to not care about the responsibility of letting the public know what the hell is going on. A lot of these issues, some of these seem justified, and okay, let them go back home, but some of these, the person was just killed and nobody got arrested. What kind of due process is that? If you're just if you're a super slick criminal, then just good on you. The system just turns it back. Think about that guy that just robbed the fucking grocery stores. Mr. Camouflage fucking Jacket Man. You're going to make an arrest on that? He, committed a crime. The whole point of the system and the cops and the lawyers is to make sure that kind of crap doesn't happen. It's on videotape. They got good evidence that he was the victim, that grocery store person, that clerk. She didn't deserve that. Aaron Delgado. And then that's another thing. I want to know if these things are justified or not. Because you have to presume that they're not. You have to presume there's foul play. You have to presume that until you find something else out that, they was the big drug running, murdering, raping son of a bitch and of their own clan. And the 3 kings, they went ahead and just mopped up the floor with one of their own. One of their best. Which gangs are around? What are those wannabes out of Monte Vista? That's Andre Psycho Barros. He got his gangsta friends. He's got a bunch of people in jail to hang out with, and outside everybody making sure Andre Barros got 3 hots in the cot forever. Jesus Lozano seems like he was killed. Elia Salazar seems like she was killed. Tracy Friel seems like she was killed. Brian Taylor seems like he was killed. Phil Lucero, that seems like a police action. DeLotta seems like self-defense. And Aaron Delgado seems like murder to me for right now. And then there's two 18-year-olds, which means we should be able to know their names. And 17, it's 1 year away. You're an adult enough to snuff out a person's life. Did you get in a car? Did you have a bank account? Did you have postal service? My God, society kind of helped you out here and there, but if you're able to mail a piece of mail, get in your vehicle, start your vehicle, drive the vehicle to the place, commit the crime, and then, drive away or whatever else you did, I think you're competent. I think you're a competent adult. I think you're a competent enough adult to stand trial. You was competent enough to do all that crap, and then you're competent enough to be judged by a jury of your peers. So again, it's a correction. I said, that DeLotta had served 6 months. So it was 8 months. David DeLotta served 8, right? It happened in May. And then January 25th, so that's June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, 8 months. And that matters because, I was like, what about one more, month? He did get one more month. 8 months, okay. Okay, it's all right. But if you're innocent, you didn't deserve to, the DeLottas didn't deserve to serve a second behind bars. And then when I think about the elements that one has to survive in the high desert valley, you got the cold, the roads are bumpy, and then on top of the elements, you got the damn criminals. Criminals are driving by over and over again, people trying to run you off your claims, steal your boards, steal your animals, just like the black cowboys up in El Paso County. Dirtbag criminal motherfuckers. A lot of it seems racist. They don't believe that you get to live like them. No, this is my 5 acres and I get to have a goat and you can't. You get to have a goat, but I can't have a goat. That goes against logic. That goes against Hobbes. It goes against America. We're here to protect our freedoms, and you're going to say that you get a freedom that only I get to raise a chicken. You can't raise a chicken. We all better start raising chickens if we're going to get smart and raising crops, especially organic foods, and have a farmer's market so that way we all can make a living. So, when I compare the rest of the homicides, I want jury trials for the lot of them because I want to know what the hell's going on. I want a more active media. I want better reporters. I want people who give a damn. Okay? It sucks that for that guy that he got, for that person, whoever, Tracy, that they got, injured. And we need to stop that shit. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So the fact that these people are being injured and nobody's doing shit, you think that guy that stole from the grocery store, you don't think he's going to steal from you? He did steal from you. And they're going to have to raise rates or whatever, and they lost money on that thing, and hell, they might leave, and then we won't have a grocery anymore. We got to stand up for the victims because that's a criminal piece of shit. He didn't just do that once. He did that brazenly in front of everybody, in front of the cameras, which means he don't give a damn about going to your house, going to your business, going to anywhere you are. So stopping a criminal from criminalizing is good for everybody. So my main point was to say, let's do jury trials. Another point I want to make was to adequately distance myself. Essentially, I'll talk to whoever wants to talk to me, but I got to be more on guard. I got to be more on guard. And it sucks because if I would have met a nice person up until now, I think that would have been enough for me. But now it's just kind of like, are you just being nice to fuck me over? Man, criminals fuck it up for everybody. Now I can't even trust nice. So I didn't know DeLotta or Robert Thrash. I still don't know Robert Thrash. I only talked to him once when I was being bailed out in DeLotta. Never talked to him. The jailers and the jailbirds know Robert Thrash and David DeLotta better than me. You want to talk to someone who knows Robert Thrash? Go to the Alamosa jailhouse. They know Robert Thrash better than me. They've seen him day in and day out. They've talked to him here and there. They've been feeding him, taking care of him. Hopefully he's still up and alert. All I was doing with talking about the DeLotta case was putting a nice, fair, and balanced portrait out there. I was saying, here's what the internet says about person A. Here's what the internet says about person B. Here's what the news reports are saying about the sling. And then here's common sense. Here's what I could deduce. Here's what I could figure out. Here's what some random comment, person said on. So, I don't know these people. And I want that to be clarified. And the reason why I want that to be clarified is just that there's so many internet trolls that's like trying to fucking connect me to shit that I have nothing fucking connected to. And why are people doing this? So the idea was, by putting everything I knew about DeLotta, everything I knew about Omega, by putting it all out in front like that, putting it front and center. Here's what they're saying is happening. Here's some of, both of them had like little things that happened in the past. But ultimately, it doesn't matter what had happened in the past, what happened on that night. And then when it comes to self-defense, when it's just two people, anybody can make a move out of nowhere, right? Somebody could just go for your throat. I swear, he just went for my throat. It was just him and I, and he went for my throat, and then he yelled, "Don't attack me!" And then you walked by and you saw us fighting, so you didn't know who started it. That could just be somebody right around the corner. So by putting all of the information front and center the way that I did, I forced the public, I forced the courts, or whoever is watching my stuff to figure the truth out. What is the actual truth? Okay, you got this side, that side. People say there's two sides to every story. There's like 20 sides to every story. One person could have 3 or 4. But once you've seen, about 20, 30 different sides, and you turned it upside down, and you flipped it upside and upright and this way and that, turned it inside out, then you figured it out. Now tell me what the hell's going on, because I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And that means none of the public knows what's going on. So just by putting all the information out, I forced the truth to rise to the top. And that, you want cheese to curdle, right? You want cheese to rise to the top. So there's just so many deceitful evil motherfuckers out here, man. They try to force things that don't go together. So I'm sitting there saying, look at this case, because I want you to give a damn about me. And then when I say, look at this case because I want you to give a damn about me, they're like, why are you interested in this? Why are you talking about this? Because I care about my community. I want my children to be raised in an abuse-free household, crime-free neighborhood, in a civil society. Those things are extremely important to me. You're not paying attention. If I came across a person that said the same thing I just said, I'd throw a jubilee. If I ever met a person that was anti-racist, I'd throw a jubilee. Because I know that they're few and far between. There's people that's like, oh, they're not racist, and then there's racist sons of bitches, and then there's anti-racist. We need anti-racist. So my main point was that we need jury trials. I want to put a little distance between, some of these other folks. Robert Thrash. He seems like a nice enough guy. I don't know. And if I don't go to court, Robert Thrash is going to gun me down. So technically, I don't want him out and about, so he comes after me. But I want my bail bond back. So once the matter, let's assume the worst. Even if I get a conviction, the idea is I get that bail bond back because I went to court every single time. I'll serve my sentence, but I get my money back. That's the point. That's how bail bonds work. And that's why they do work. Because the person wants their money back, so they'll go to the thing. And then if you take off and then you're out, $10,000 or whatever. So you get punished. There's a punishment. And then a lot of times somebody else has to co-sign for you. So therefore, it looks bad upon somebody that, was paying their bills. So I just want to mention a couple things about Robert Thrash because he said he didn't really want to get into it with me because I was trying to, ask him where he lived and whatnot. And he said we could be friends later on down the road. But that's assuming I resolve my case as the Leviathan demands. So if there's resolutions to the case, whether there's a conviction or a dismissal, I would get that bail bond back. And so since we have this bail bond relationship, he didn't want to become best friends with me and, hang out with me just because he didn't know for sure. So I feel like once it's all done and over with, we could be friends. But I don't know Robert Thrash. He said we could be friends afterwards. And how did I find out about Robert Thrash? There's cards all over the jail. He had bail bond cards all over. There was only like one other phone number and they were like disconnected. And then I got some internet, trolls. I got a little Xana stalker that's been driving by my house, and I got this little Xana stalker online as well. Probably more racist perverts. Oh yeah, you're against racism? Yeah, motherfucker, I'm against racism, you fucking anonymous fucking creepy fuck. These creepy ass pieces of shit act like they keep creeping and creeping. Some middle-aged 50-year-old creep they're screaming cat. Oh, you're a screaming cat, huh? And then they're sitting there talking to me online. Somebody's got it out for me, and they got it for me bad. They're pretending to be some little, 14-year-old teenage boy. Why are they doing that? Because they got issues. A 50-year-old creep pretending to be Why are you pretending to be a 14-year-old boy, you creep? You couldn't tell your father to stop hitting your mother and your siblings, huh? You couldn't tell your father to stop hitting you and your mother and your siblings, so you got to take it out on every other man in the world? So my main point is, I don't know Robert Thrash or DeLotta. They both seem like nice people. David DeLotta's been exonerated, so he's got a brand new blank check. And I hope he makes good on it. We should be comfortable as citizens in a democratic republic to participate in our democracy, to vote, to caucus, to grand jury, to jury. That's how our laws work. Sometimes the situation in the law is crystal clear, but when it's not, that's when you need a jury. So, court has exonerated DeLotta due to double jeopardy freedoms from Colorado and United States Constitution. He can never be tried for those events. No criminal trial for those events again. He will never have to face murder charges ever again for Omega being shot and killed. He could be sued later on, but essentially, and good on the DeLottas. I hope they get their brand new bill of health, and I hope that they make something out of it.